Hello, everyone. The clip you're about to hear is from one of our exclusive Patreon episodes on a recent horror release, and just like all of our other episodes, it might include major spoilers for said horror release, so don't listen to it if you haven't already seen it. You've officially been warned. And if you'd like to hear the full episode, just head on over to patreon.com/horrorqueers and subscribe today. Without further ado, here is your exclusive Patreon clip. Nevertheless, do I fault anyone for wanting to do something like this? No. You're right, It's bougie, but again, I would 100% pay for this if I could just shit out $1,250.
Right, and that's the important context for this film, right? Aside from Margot, all of the rest of these people can easily afford it. This is a drop in the bucket for most of these guests. So, well, it's extravagant to regular theatergoers who are probably not living on this income level. That's part of where the movie gets its acidic joke factor from. It's well, we really do want to see these rich fuckers get taken down a notch. With that said, if we were in the position, would we want to live this life of luxury? Probably yes.
I would, yeah. But okay, I'm sorry. So we're going into our own lives here, but really quickly, Joe, would you recommend this movie to our listeners who have not seen this yet?
Oh, yes, I absolutely would. I really enjoyed this. I think you enjoyed it a smidge more than me, but I found the mixture between the kind of thrills and the comedy very good. Everybody is working at the top of their game. Yeah, really great performances. I think it's really well shot, although I will see former guest Jenny Knolf's critique that this does look a little bit like a television-y movie.
Okay, I saw that. What do you mean by that? What sets this apart from something that you would see in theaters?
I think part of it is that it's the scope, right? We're on this island, but it's a very tiny island. So really, in a way, this feels like a bottle movie, and we're not using the camera in super extravagant ways. This feels like it could have been made for an HBO kind of deal.
Wasn't the budget for this movie $30 million?
I mean, it's a very expensive made for... I'm not suggesting that it's bad in that it looks like it could have been made for television, but, I think that this has almost a workman-like craftsmanship in terms of the direction to me.
Well, and that's Mark Mylod here. I don't... He directs a lot of TV.
He does Succession, yeah.
Well, he's really favorite. He directed the pilot of the U.S. remake of Shameless and worked on Shameless for a very long time.
Right.
He did our favorite show, Once Upon a Time, for a bit. He's done several episodes of Game of Thrones, which apparently everyone has done. But yeah, Succession is his kind of claim to fame now because Succession is so hot right now, so hot right now.
It's so hot right now. Yes, indeed.
Yeah, no, I really, really did love this movie a lot. I can already tell you it's going to make my top 10 of the year.
Okay.
I thought this was so funny.
Right.
And honestly, on both sides, because there's a bit of tragedy here, because I can see someone, if you're walking in taking this at face value, you're going to be like, well, why do all these people want to kill themselves? Why are they so willing to kill themselves? And I think that's, if you're asking that question, you're missing the point of the commentary a little bit, because
right.
I will tell you that when I worked at this wine bar, we had, our kitchen was like this, where it was yes, chef, did you watch that show, The Bear, that hit Hulu earlier this year?
I didn't, but I did see a lot of comparisons this weekend.
Very much like that. And it's kind of a thing where I would walk back there, and it was my first experience with that kind of a kitchen. And I was like, who would subject themselves to this willingly?
Oh,
because it's similar to how I feel about the Army. And if y'all want to hear us talk about that, you can hear us go talk about that in Starship Troopers. But it's very, to me, it looks masochistic. And this isn't to throw shade at anyone who does willingly choose this life. It's just not a life I would myself choose because, oh my God, it looks so stressful.
It's super stressful. It is surprisingly high stakes, even though you're people are just preparing food. But it's often the level of craftsmanship and the demands on these people, the coordination, the timing, the expertise, these are not just amateurs a lot of the time. They've gone to school. They've been put through the paces. There is an expectation about how things will be done. It is a whole culture. And I feel like people who haven't worked in a kitchen can't always appreciate that. And I do think that the movie threads that careful line between doing comedy that regular folks, aka maybe people who haven't worked in the service industry or haven't eaten at these kinds of restaurants, are going to be this is ridiculous. Come on. But if you're in the know, you're also going to see a lot of the things that you're already familiar with. And I think it's giving both of those perspectives equal weight to the point. Like, that's why I think the movie is actually pretty successful at what it's doing.
Atlas Avenue. A long stretch of road that encompasses everything the city of Kennett Heights has to offer. Neon lights, traffic, crime, the hustle and bustle of everyday life, and the craziest of characters. My office was above it all. My name is James Locke, and I'm a PI.
Hello, Mr. J. How the hell you doing today?
Good, Edith. Nearly every year I have a new case. New people to meet, new clues to discover, and new problems to solve. But I do it the old-fashioned way. No technology. Nothing post-1950. Hell, I don't even listen to podcasts, but you should. Atlas Avenue Beat is a spoof of the film noir genre with goofy characters, tons of wordplay, and non-stop raunchy humor. There's also 3 whole seasons out right now with more on the way. Just search for Atlas Avenue Beat wherever you listen to podcasts or visit us online at bloody.fm.